Hey guys, so welcome to today's video. I am reviewing a new foundation from Bare Minerals. It is the Bare Pro Liquid Foundation, and as some of you who've been watching my videos know already at this point how much I love the Bare Minerals original foundation, which is the loose minerals that come in a jar like this, and I use those pretty much every single time I do my makeup, and I have been really enjoying minerals and how easy it is to use, and everything about it is just really great. And it's also a better option for makeup as far as skincare and just better for the skin. So when I saw that they came out with a new foundation, I knew I had to pick this up and give it a go. This is the Bare Pro Performance Wear Liquid Foundation with a broad spectrum SPF of 20, which is great that they include the SPF in it, although that's not really the best form of SPF. You should put some SPF on beforehand, but at least there's something there. So it's a flawless medium to full coverage that lasts all day, creamy buildable texture for luminous comfort, stay true pigments, mineral pigments, designed for all skin tones. It's oil-free, non-comedogenic, hypoallergenic, and dermatologist tested. So because I have acne-prone skin, I do get dry sometimes. I also get oily. I do have issues with like itchy, flaky skin. It's a form of eczema. So I have very sensitive skin and I have a lot of issues, which is why I like the minerals, because they work well with my skin. So I'm interested to see how this liquid foundation matches up with my skin type and how it wears throughout the day. I don't know as far as like the length of time, as far as the performance wear, if it's supposed to be a 24-hour thing or not. I will look it up and then put it on the screen if it is. And I will be just testing this like I would any other foundation through a normal day for me, which would be several hours. It's not going to be a 24-hour thing because I don't wear makeup that long. So I have it in the shade Aspen 04. This shade, Aspen 04, and I believe it was Dawn 02. I'll put it on the screen, the two shades that are very similar. Like this shade here, the Aspen and the Dawn, were almost exact, except the Aspen has just a touch more golden, which is what I like to kind of counteract a little bit of the pinky kind of redness that I have sometimes. So I go with foundations that are a little bit more on the goldeny side. I do wear fairly light in the original formula. I will have everything listed down below as well, so that if you are similar in skin tone, you can kind of figure out what your color is. Now I will say it was very easy for me to match myself at Ulta. I did have somebody come help me eventually because they saw that I was testing the colors on my neck, and they agreed that Aspen 04 was the best color for me. So they also released a new brush, which I did not pick up because I tend to use a dampened Beautyblender when I apply my foundations. So I'm going to do half of my face with a Beautyblender that's been dampened, and then half with the Bare Minerals Precision Face Brush. Now the reason why I'm going to use this brush instead of the one that came with the foundation or launched with the foundation is because they're both made out of synthetic fibers. From what I remember from the feel of the newest brush and this one, they feel pretty much the same, except for the cut and the bristles, the way they're shaped are a little bit different. This has that angled blunt cut, so it's actually really good for liquids. And the other one is more rounded to mimic your fingertips, so you don't actually have to use your hands. So what I'm going to do is also use the Bare Minerals Primetime Original Foundation Primer, because, I mean, wouldn't it work with that? So I'm going to do this on half of my face, and then we will see how it works throughout the day. So I'm going to do the Primetime Original Foundation Primer on my left side, and that's going to be the same side that I'm going to use the brush, because sometimes this is kind of silky, so it does add a bit of moisture to my skin, being that I do have oily skin with a damp Beautyblender. Sometimes I get a little bit more oily throughout the day, so I'm going to do this on the left side. And this is just a typical, very clear primer. It does have that silicone feel to it, so I'm going to just use a little bit of this on half of my face. Feels awkward using my my left hand to blend this because I'm right-handed. So just a little bit. I think I pumped out too much of this. I'm going to go right through the center of the face. And the reason why I chose this side with the brush is that sometimes some brushes can leave streaks from the bristles. So we're going to see if this is actually worth it to use it in conjunction with this foundation. I mean, it may not be necessary. And one thing that the guy at Ulta told me about was that this foundation does not need to be set. So we're going to put that to the test. Let's skip the setting powder. Okay, so the Beautyblender, just slightly damp, so it's not like dripping, just slightly damp. And I'm going to start with one pump. since it's brand new, it's going to take a minute. Actually, let's do 2 pumps. And this is the formula. As you can see, it's quite runny. As soon as you pump it out, it is runny. So I'm going to do the Beautyblender side first. And I'm not sure if this sets quickly or not. Let's hope not. And then I'm going to push that into the skin with my Beautyblender. And I'm hoping, I've got my fingers and my toes crossed, that this actually works and that I like it, because can you imagine if I hate the liquid, although I love their minerals? If you hear any panting, that would be my dog. Okay, so I think I need a little bit more around the brows here. And let's go. And I'm like, that is almost like an exact match. I mean, that looks pretty good, I think. Now we'll see how this works. See if this makes me feel dry and itchy, because I do have some issues with my skin. Okay, so I'm just going back and adding just a little bit more where I think I need the extra coverage, and I'm just barely tapping in. I still have a considerable amount left on my hand that I can use with the brush. And we'll see, because with these lights, everything tends to kind of slip and slide because I start to sweat. That looks really pretty on the skin. Like, it just smoothed everything out. I can still see some of my imperfections, which I'm not worried about. Honestly, I prefer that because it just looks really natural, but you could go in and add a little extra, and it doesn't have too much of a sticky feel. And I took that right up underneath the eye and the eyelids as well. And we're going to use a brush. It's been a while since I've used a brush for foundation, because like I said, once I discovered the Beautyblender, I have not used anything else. And I'm still working with those 2 pumps, so we'll see how it works. It looks like I'm kind of like washed out. Maybe this shade is a little light, but we'll make it work with some bronzer. That is really pretty. I'm going to use the side of this to get kind of around the nose. I have to use my finger for that. And I feel like it does build up quite nicely on itself, which is really great. Some foundations, you have to keep building and building to get some coverage, and then some of them, when you put too much on, it's like a hot mess situation. I need a little extra right here. I think there's probably more coverage with the brush, just because the brush is very densely packed, and I can really just kind of pack it on and build that up. And this side looks a little bit more kind of flawless as far as like the coverage is concerned, but this side still looks really nice and smooth and just really, really nice. I like the finish of it. It's not sticky. Okay, so I'm a little bit closer. I hope that you guys can kind of see. I don't know if the camera is picking up a little bit of still some kind of discoloration there, but again, I only did 2 pumps just because I'm going to use this as I would on camera and also my personal time off camera. I'm not going to just pile this on because I just really enjoy the way this looks. I know it looks a little odd because I do have some lip balm on with color and nothing around the eyes. This is a side here with the Beautyblender. You can probably still see I have 2 little hyperpigmentation spots from previous breakouts from several months back. But as far as like the coverage, it is very nice and smooth. It looks like skin. It's not completely flat and chalky looking, but it's not dewy or radiant or luminous at all. It's a beautiful finish, and I want to touch my face. I'm really hoping that this does not break down with some oil, as I will produce that throughout the day. Alright guys, so I'm doing an update. It's only been 2 hours since I applied the foundation. I just filmed this tutorial for the look that I'm wearing. But I also wanted to do the update after a few hours, because usually at this point, with some natural oils that I produce, foundations tend to get a little bit dewy and sort of start to change. So I wanted to show you what that looks like. I also am using my iPhone, which has a 4K camera. Sometimes this camera doesn't do any justice. So I wanted to choose this camera today to do my update so you guys can actually see what it looks like. This is the side that we did the primer with the brush, and then this is the side that we used the dampened Beauty Blender. I just have a little bit of the Bare Minerals Warmth on. I have no blush. I have no highlight on. This is just sort of like the glowy dewiness of my skin throughout the day. And also I used the Bare Minerals Original Foundation and my Bobbi Brown Brightener under the eyes and over the lids as my primer before eyeshadow. So this is what my skin looks like. I don't feel like I need to do any sort of touch-ups. It looks kind of dewy. I feel like with time wearing this foundation, it sort of starts to become one with the skin. It had a better finish when I first applied it. It was more of like a sort of kind of satiny, natural matte finish, which I really liked, but unfortunately, foundations like that never tend to last as far as finishes on my skin with the oiliness that I produce. So that's okay. I'm still gonna keep going on with my day, but I did wanna do my checkup because it's been about 2 hours. So I'm gonna give it a couple more hours and then I'll be back with another update. All right, guys, so I am back at updating you guys. It is 4:30, 4:40-ish. So it's been several hours since I applied it, which was closer to 11:30 in the morning. And at this point, I would be sort of blotting with the Beauty Blender Blotterazzis, which are like little sponges. And that's kind of what I use for touch-up methods. I don't really carry powders and tons of makeup with me. So this is what it looks like. This is the side with the primer and the brush, and then this is the side with the dampened Beauty Blender, as you guys can see. I didn't take too much under the eye, but there it is. So I know that the camera on the iPhone is a little bit more HD, I guess, than my actual camera, which is only 1080. This is in 4K, so that's what it looks like. But I'm gonna get on camera and do an update as well to show you what it looks like with my oil, so you can see that how certain lightings affect the way it looks. All right, guys, so you just saw the clip of me updating you all on the 4K camera off of my iPhone. This is the camera that I use for filming. I do have 2 softbox lights up. I decided to put them back up because the weather has been very dark and gloomy, so I wanted you to see this as true to what it is as far as color and also the sort of oiliness and dewiness that I'm working with here. So as you can see, I am pretty oily right in this area here and over my nose. That is the oiliest part of my face, so I can't knock the foundation for that because this is something that I experience with all kinds of liquid foundations, even some that are full mattes, even demi-matte, satin finishes, natural finishes, liquids, creams, powders. This is what I deal with, so I'm not knocking it. One of the things that I sort of kept telling myself in my mind as I was sort of thinking about this foundation is the fact that it feels like I'm wearing nothing, and I love that. It feels very much like my skin, and I do, like I said, I have some oils here. I didn't put any highlighter on today because if I did, that would definitely accentuate the oiliness and dewiness that you are seeing here, but here in this sort of center region of my face is where I have the most oil production. The forehead looks fine. I do have some very thin, fine lines here. It's not settling in there. And then my chin, that is the area that tends to look a little bit more dry, and it doesn't look bad. Looking like it's clinging here, but I did mention that when I applied it in this area here, it looks exactly like I applied it at 11:30 this morning, and it is currently right now 4:44. When I do any sort of touch-ups, I use the Blotterazzis from the Beauty Blender because it's just easier. It's less of a mess. I can literally do this in my car. There is a mirror in here, so I don't have to take a mirror with me or have any separate compacts or anything like that. And what I would do is I would just take this sponge and just kind of press and lift. And you can see maybe there a difference. Here's the oiliness and then not so much. Press and lift and go right over the areas where I have the most oiliness, and then I can use that same side or flip it over. So let's just flip it for the video and just press and lift. And I go around the nose here, maybe take the rounded side and go here if I need it, maybe hit the chin up one time. So this is the extent of my touch-ups, and I'm okay with a little bit of kind of glowiness here. I don't go crazy with powder because I feel like when you add too much powder, it can make you feel even drier, and then if you're oily, you're going to overproduce oil at that point. So that's the extent of what I do. I feel comfortable. It still has a bit of a glow to it, but it's not crazy. Like I said, right now it's 4:46, so I will be able to get a little bit more sort of longevity out of this for the next few hours. Alright guys, so here I am back at it again with another update. This is going to be my last check-in that I'm going to do for the video. It is currently 7:22 p.m. and I did my update previously at 4:45. So it's been about 2.5 hours or so since then, and this is what my skin looks like. The previous check-in at 4:45, I did a touch-up with the Blatarazzis from the Beautyblender brand. And this is what my skin looks like after a few additional hours of wear. I have cooked dinner, I have cleaned my entire kitchen, I'm ready to take this off and unwind for the rest of the day, or evening I should say. So this is the side again, here with the primer and the brush, and then this side is with the dampened Beauty Blender. I think, relatively speaking, the side with the brush is just a little less dewy than this side with the dampened Beauty Blender. But at this point, I do need to do some sort of blotting, especially around my nose. Get a little closer so you can see my nose, and then my chin. It's starting to kind of separate a little bit. Yes, I've got super dry lips and a super dry chin, so that's what it looks like. It wasn't as bad before. Forehead still looks pretty good, a little bit dewy, maybe in need of another touch-up there, and looking pretty decent. Let me get my little mirror. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be like pulling or separating like the sides of my nose, and it just looks like, skin. It looks like I have pretty good skin, except for a bit of a shine, so not bad. Alright, so to wrap up this video, overall, I do have to say that I am pretty impressed with it, and I'm really glad that I had a positive day with this foundation, because I used the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Foundation, so I would have been a little bit brokenhearted had this foundation not done decent on at least decent on my skin. Like I said before, I do have oily skin. I do have acne-prone skin. I also get my skin that gets flaky and itchy and then overproduces oil sometimes. So I have a lot of issues with my skin, and honestly throughout the day I didn't feel itchy. I didn't feel any weirdness. It felt like I wasn't wearing anything. It went on beautifully, and I felt like 2 pumps was enough for me to get a really nice, I would consider this full coverage, although that's just my personal preference and my opinion on it. Of course, those of you who actually wear more heavier foundations will think that this is a very natural look. For me, I don't use this much foundation day to day, so to me it is a full coverage. I love the packaging on it. It's a substantial size glass, and it's got some weight, so it's like a hefty piece to it. A nice matte cap. It's got a pump, which is wonderful. It makes easy application. You can pump it on your hand. You can also pump it onto a makeup tray little thing. It also has a twist where you can actually lock it, so nothing can come against it in a makeup bag or in a makeup kit if you're a makeup artist, and nothing squirts out, and you can always untwist it to, or I should say unlock it, and you can just start dispensing your foundation. I think I got a pretty perfect match. The Aspen 04 works really well for me. I like the sleekness of it. It's got some weight to it. It is $34, I believe, for an ounce, which is a typical size for foundation, a 1 fluid ounce. So $34 isn't bad, and it's, you know, a brand that makes products that are good for the skin, and I haven't had any issues with acne or clogged pores when I use anything from Bare Minerals, so I don't suspect that I'm going to have that issue with this liquid foundation. However, if it were to happen, I will definitely update you guys on another video, maybe on social media or something like that. But so far, I really have enjoyed it, and when I touch up my skin, I did touch up really quickly before doing this portion of the video, and it just looks very dewy and very fresh. It doesn't look greasy or oily in my opinion, but you let me know in the comment section what you think overall of the look and of the overall video. Let me know if you guys like these videos so I can do them more often. And I hope that you found this helpful. Hope you found the check-ins helpful as well. I'm about to go wash the rest of this off and call it a night. So thank you so much for spending some of your day here with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you are a subscriber. Thank you so much for taking the time to subscribe and for watching, commenting, and being here supporting my channel. It means everything to me. And if you'd like to connect with me off camera, I do have social media. I will have all of my Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat down below as always. And I hope to see you there. You guys take care. Bye-bye.